Welcome back to another video, people. Welcome back to the YouTube channel. And yeah, welcome back to another match reaction. Another Super Sunday match reaction. Liverpool 2, Manchester City 0. Make sure to leave a like on the video. Make sure to subscribe if you are new. I'm trying to hit 1K as soon as possible. At GVO Mikes on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok if you want to follow me as well, people. And yeah, this was uh we saw one masterclass and one disaster class. Um it was a bit of both, really. You can't really say it was either or. But with Liverpool, for example, some of their players really stood out. Some of the players really stood out, especially Van Dijk. Even though Man City did attack their best, Van Dijk dealt with everything very well, excusing that mistake that nearly led to a Kevin De Bruyne goal for Kelleher. I thought Trent actually played really well defensively. Mateus Nunes looked a shell of himself, a shell of his recent form as well. Obviously, their front three, Gakpo, Diaz, and Salah, all of them played really well. All of them were very, very good. Um, they just interchanged really well as well. And every time Salah put a ball in, it was dangerous. It was effective. So you also got that from Liverpool's side, but also from Manchester City side, there was a lot of disaster classes. Phil Foden, disaster class completely. Didn't get into the game. To be honest, the whole lineup as well, like the lineup in itself and the setup by Pep Guardiola was just a disaster class as well, because there was no right hand side, and the left hand side was Mateus Nunes, who's a midfielder playing on the left. Um, Again, no energy, no runners in Man City. Um, Phil Foden did grab the game by the scruff of the neck. Haaland did get the ball again, and every time Haaland did get the ball, it bounced off his fucking shin. Um, they actually only looked somewhat effective when Doku and Savio came on. And to be honest with you, throughout the whole time that Man City were playing, no matter who was on the pitch, they were playing down the whole left hand side, and there was a lack of anything on the right hand side. Like Savio, when he came on, it wasn't actually the best of cameos, to be honest. But it didn't even feel like any midfielders were playing uh, down the right either. They brought Kevin De Bruyne on when they were already 2-0 down. Kyle Walker, again, another 0 out of 10 performance from him. Genuinely terrible, but he's fallen off. Like, this is his fall off, and he's been falling off for 2 years now, since the start of last season. So we can kind of expect it, but why is he still playing? Diaz and Akanji and Ake, well, mainly Diaz and Akanji, both turned into bozos. And they turned into bozos for the penalty. Wait, was it 2-0 or 3-0? I don't actually know. Wait, I just realized it might have been 3-0. Well, no, it was 2-0. No, it was 2-0. So, alright. I thought it was 3-0 because, you know what? The reason why I just thought it was 3-0 is because by the time Salah scored, I felt like it was 2-0 anyway, because City didn't look like scoring. So it kind of felt like Liverpool were in cruise control. But what they have under Arne Slot now, despite obviously the big loss of Ibrahim Konate and some of the other injuries that they've had, from an organised point of view, from a defensive point of view, when they need to see out a game, they're so organised because they've already got tall, physical players. That is very hard for any player to try and dribble through. You've got to have some elite dribbling abilities to try and get all these figureheads that are putting their bodies on the line for Liverpool. They look very solid defensively, and they just look effective on the counter attack. And obviously, Jamie Carragher made the reference to not losing that thing that they had under Jurgen Klopp with the type of football he played. I think the best way to put it is that since Slot has come in, they haven't lost the strengths they had under a peak Jurgen Klopp team. The effectiveness, the pace, the dangerous attacks on the transition that they usually have, but it's with a fresh voice, a man with fresh ideas, a fresh layout of how he plays. But they haven't lost the attributes they got the best out of under Jurgen Klopp. And this was never going to be easy for Manchester City. We expected them to turn up a bit more. But going back to Liverpool, they played against Real Madrid and Manchester City and won 2-0 against both of them. Now, despite both teams having injuries, I think everyone has injuries, so you can't really say anything about that. But you also expect a way better performance from Real Madrid and Manchester City. But Liverpool put them both to the sword and won comfortably 2-0. And it didn't look like that Real Madrid and Manchester City were going to score at any point of the game. I don't even think Kelleher was tested for the most part. But when Kelleher has been tested, he's risen to the big occasion on the odd saves he actually has to make. But that's also a testament to not only Liverpool's attack and their midfield, but their defence. Despite Robertson not being at his best and him giving away the penalty against Real Madrid, they're still just organised as a team, which is also should put more emphasis on how good Slot is coaching right now. That he's coaching so well that even from an outsider's point of view, we might not think their midfield is balanced profile wise, or some of the best players that, or some of the players that are playing in their team or in the starting 11 may not be good enough to be regular starters or to put in performances week in, week out at this current moment in time. It's the coaching that's covering up for all those deficiencies that we talk about when it comes to those individuals in general. Um, we didn't see anything of Haaland, and I don't think I've ever seen Van Dijk lose any sort of battle against Erling Haaland. For me, City don't actually give him the ball enough when Kevin De Bruyne's not there, which is where I look to Bernardo Silva and Phil Foden and players like that. Rico Lewis was terrible today. Bernardo Silva was absolutely awful. Um, but the manager as well, like Pep Guardiola's got to take responsibility. If all these players are looking dead, now yes, some of them have fallen off, but you always look to the manager. And we're not saying this isn't like you know talking in hindsight and rewriting history when it comes to what Pep is as a manager in terms of general football, um, or what he's done for Manchester City, for the Premier League, and for football in general. We're talking about him now. We're criticizing him for the season and for the standard we know of Manchester City. Now, despite Man City not starting well at this part of the season, they're always in the top three usually, at least from what I remember. This feels like an even worse version than the 1920 season for the Man City perspective, where they're actually fifth in the table. They're below Brighton, they're below Arsenal, and they're below Chelsea. Liverpool look like they could run away with it. And yes, it is Liverpool's title to lose at this current moment in time as well. I think they've played really well. I said they finished third. I said they'd be in a title race, but I thought they'd peter off around to a similar point in time where they petered off last season. However, they could go. Obviously, they're going to go straight to the end, but they are probably going to win it. And it will be well deserved because despite the fact that you can say that Liverpool needed to invest in January, I mean in the summer, sorry, so did Arsenal properly, and so did Man City properly, and they actually spent more. Both of them actually got first team players in more than Liverpool did. Liverpool got one squad player and a goalkeeper that's going to join in next season. Now, despite their worries at the start of the season, Slot's just coached them really well, and he's come up and he's actually. I don't know where this narrative actually came from neutrals that Liverpool haven't played anyone. I'm going to assume that was salty Man City and Arsenal fans, deeming that they're in the title race, etc. But from going on the 1st of December, they faced Man United away. Fair enough, that's quite an easy fixture for them, but they did win that last year. They faced Chelsea, they faced Man City, they faced Real Madrid, AC Milan, RB Leipzig, and have played 3 games. Like I've had all the European schedule and stuff like that, as they do every year. With the minimized squad they have, they've managed that very well. Slot actually makes the changes very well, manages people's workloads very well, which is very important. Something like an Arteta and Arsenal really lacks. Has great man management, just great tactical nous as well. The only time I've really seen them like properly struggle. Well, obviously the Forest game, I didn't watch that game, but the Arsenal game where Arsenal were probably the better team in that game, but they still got a draw out of that. They still got a draw from Arsenal. They beat Chelsea. They beat They beat Man United. They beat Brighton as well. I'm pretty sure they beat Brighton. They beat Brighton at home. Yes, it's Anfield, but that doesn't mean you need to discredit that from what Liverpool have done throughout the season so far. And that's why I think they'll go on and win it. I never usually write Manchester City off at this current moment in time, but this isn't normal. This isn't normal. If they keep going like this, they're in a top 4 race. And it sounds ridiculous, but at this current moment in time, they're not showing any signs that they're good enough to even compete for the title this year, let alone win the title. That's why I'm writing them off. That's why I've written Arsenal off as well, because they didn't do enough in the first place. But they also don't look that good without their main key players. And the way Arteta manages his players, they're bound another injury or two, unfortunately for them. So that's just looking at it from an objective point of view. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It isn't the greatest in terms of title race, but you got to appreciate what Liverpool are doing right now, and you kind of just got to scratch your head at what the hell Manchester City are doing right now. But make sure to like the video, make sure to subscribe if you're new. My social medias are in the description if you want to follow me, any email for any inquiries. And yeah, we're trying to hit 1K subscribers as soon as possible, people. So take care, guys. In a